You know what time it is. It's time for the Daily Kingdom Rewind. This is a time where we go into the vaults and we pull out some messages that we know are relevant from back in the day. Well, listen, this word today is just for you. Like, comment, and share. We want to get this message out to as many people as possible. And don't forget, you can sow into ministry at any time during the rewind. Well, let's go in and hear what God has to say to us. God bless you.
All about. Understand that you do not develop your faith just sitting in church. You do not develop your faith just sitting in church. You do not develop your faith just sitting in church. Notice what Job says in Job chapter 7. Notice what he says in verses 17 and 18. He says, what is man that you make so much of him, that you give him so much attention? Here it is. And that you examine him every morning and test him every moment. Y'all didn't want to read that. I'm going to tell you what Job said again. What is man that you make so much of him, and that you give him so much attention, that you examine him every morning and you test him every moment? Did you realize that God is testing you every moment of your life? He's testing you in traffic. He's testing you on the street. He's testing you at the protest. He's testing you on Facebook. He's testing you with your friends. He's testing you with your family. He's testing you when you're in a good mood, and he's testing you when you feel like fighting. Now, you've got to understand that life is a test. It is a temporary assignment, and you've got to learn to trust God even in this assignment. Every moment of your day, your faith is being tested. Somebody just holler back at me. Every moment, every moment of your life, your faith is being tested. In fact, all this past week, it was being tested. I don't know if I'm talking to anybody. All last month, it was being tested. And all next week, it's going to be tested. When you go on your job, it's going to be tested. When you get on that conference call, it's going to be tested. That one person that's got your number, that pushes your button every time, they are on assignment to test your faith. And every time you cuss them out, you are failing the test. I pass the kingdom, I might as well be honest. Every time you make schemes to get back at them, you fail the test. Every time you hear a rumor and you decide to fight fire with fire, you are failing the test. Every time you don't turn the cheek, you are failing the test. Every time you skip out on your assignment to evangelize the lost, you are failing your assignment. Understand, every day you have faith building opportunities. The problem is that most of us don't recognize, we don't recognize them when they're there. We think and flunk the test because we don't even realize that it's a test in the first place. Lord, I said we flunked the test because we don't even realize that we're in the midst of a test. We don't understand that God is not testing us for testing's sake, but he's testing us because he wants us to grow. And if you're going to grow, you've got to deal with some weight. If you're going to grow, you've got to deal with some pressure. You wouldn't be who you are if God didn't let some enemies and some haters show up and put dirt on your name. You wouldn't know who you are if he didn't let some filth test your patience. As a matter of fact, don't say this because you don't want to say it. I'm going to say it for you. What you need in your life is some folk that challenge you. I got to let that one sink in. You need some circumstances that may put you through the ringer every now and then because you've got to see where you are. God does not test you for him to see where you are. He tests you so you can see where you are. Y'all are not saying amen. I need to say it again. He does not test you because he needs to know where you are. He test you so you can see where you are. Some of y'all need to come to the point where you understand I still need deliverance over this temper of mine. How do you know you need deliverance of that temper? Because you still talking about fighting 10 minutes after you were speaking in tongues. How do I know I still need deliverance from this person? Because right after my devotion, I'm still sending a text. I need deliverance. I need you to help me. It's so quiet in here right now that I'm preaching good. Look across that row and just tell somebody, he testing me. He testing me. Is somebody in my inbox right now? He's testing me. There's somebody on my phone right now. He's texting me. There's some things right now that he's testing me on. And the question is, will you pass the test? Understand, brothers and sisters, when you talk about the testing of your faith, when you talk about your faith being valuable, then I believe we have to recognize the ways in which he grows us up, the ways in which he tests us. What I have found out that there are many ways in which he tests us, but there are 4 dominant ways that I have seen even in my own life that God uses these opportunities in order to test us. I'm going to give you the 4 and I'm going to get out of your way. The first thing that I have seen is that God tests our faith through difficulties. God tests our faith through difficulties. God tests our faith through difficulties. What do you mean when you say difficulties? I'm glad you asked. These are trials. These are problems. These are pressures. These are tough circumstances. These are all those stressors in life. 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 6 and 7. For a little while you have had to suffer great and all kinds of trials. There is a purpose to the test. There's a purpose to the trials, the difficulties, the tribulation. There's a purpose to the pressures and the tough circumstances. And these have come so that your faith may be proved genuine and may also, hear this, result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed. You are not just tested with difficult circumstances to simply survive, but you are tested with difficult circumstances to lead you into praise. If you don't praise with the difficult circumstance, then you miss that God is revealing himself in what you're going through. So the reason why he says rejoice always, and again I say rejoice, the reason why James says that you ought to count it all joy is not because you're going through the test, but it's because Jesus is being revealed in the test. And as long as he's being revealed in the test, I know that he's in control of everything that's going through. Understand, brothers and sisters, the reason why you should have almost ran out of your seat right now is because although you're going through a difficult time right now, the fact of the matter is, if I've got Jesus in my life, it means that he knows what he's doing. He knows when it's going to be over, and he's producing something in me that I'm going to come out of this better than the way I came in. And I just need to know, are there at least 30 of y'all in this room with your mask on? Don't stand up if you ain't got your mask on, but all the mask folk, if you know that God is producing something in this difficult place, I dare to jump on your feet and give God about 10 seconds of crazy, unrestricted prayer. Y'all sit down. Let me make my way through this Sunday school lesson. Understand that the trials and the problems and the difficulties that come into your life, they are coming to prove your faith. Nothing ever happens by accident in the life of a believer. Everything is filtered by the Father. Everything. I'm not saying that God plans, all the bad things that happen to you. I'm not getting into a discourse about all that kind of thing. I'm simply saying that there is nothing that happens to you that catches him by surprise. There is nothing that comes knocking at your door that he did not see before you were even born. It means that regardless of the difficulty that you're facing this morning, morning, it means that there's something that God is producing from this. It may be on your nerves this morning. It may be testing and stretching you. But everything that's going on in your life, it is not happening by accident, but it is a part of the production plan of your faith. Understand that it's in this place that as we live in this broken world, that I found out even in my life, when you're talking about problems and difficulties and tough circumstances, I found out that many times they are custom made to where I am in life. I found out that they are custom made. They're custom made. That's what Jonah found out in his life, that there's nothing else to look at except the Lord. That's what he said. There's nothing else to do. He custom made this big fish just for me. I know they told you it was a whale, but understand it was not a whale. It was a great fish, more akin to a casket, and he snugly fit in there. He wasn't walking around in the belly of the whale. He was in the depths of Sheol, and it was customed to his body. As a matter of fact, the tough circumstance that was the big fish had to get him still long enough to get some stuff out of him. And maybe what God is doing in your life is not just to jack you up for no reason. Maybe there's some stuff in you that he's got to get out of you, and in order for him to get it out of you, he's got to get you still. Maybe he's got to have you socially distanced from some stuff so you understand that you just ain't like everybody, that there is a furnace of affliction for the express purpose of making your faith more valuable. As a matter of fact, I was watching something this week, and I thought it was interesting that somebody asked this old blacksmith or silversmith, how do you know when the impurities are burned away in the silver? And I had never heard this before. They asked this blacksmith, this silversmith, how do you know that the silver is ready? How do you know the impurities have been burnt away? And what he said was, when I can see my reflection in the silver, then I know, Lord have mercy, when I see my reflection in it, that's how I know when it's ready. If I look at it and it's cloudy and it looks like the way it looked when it came into the fire, then it's not ready. But when I look at it and I can see myself in it, then I know it's as valuable as it's going to be. Well, I stopped in here to tell somebody that God says, when I can see myself on you, when I see you, when I see my image in you, that's how I know that you're ready. And until I see it, I got to turn up the fire. As a matter of fact, will you just encourage your neighbor and just tell them, don't lose no sleep. Do not be discouraged because the fire has been turned up in your life. What he's doing right now is he's getting you ready to be an image bearer, and he wants you to bear his image everywhere you go. And that's why you must understand, brothers and sisters, when you know what all this is all about, you got to have a praise every single step of the way. I know I'm under attack, but I still bless God. I know folk are talking about me, but I still give God glory. I know that money's funny right now, but I still give God thanks. As a matter of fact, my best shout is when I can look at my life and see the attack, but still feel breath in my body. Because I know if he gives me breath, that means there's something else that he's doing for me. As a matter of fact, take your Holy Ghost finger and just point it at somebody across the room and just make sure they hear what you're about to say. Look at them and say, neighbor, I don't know what you're going through, but it's for your good. That's the wrong neighbor. That's the wrong neighbor. I said, find somebody else. Point that finger and say, wake up. I just need you to know that what you're going through is for your good. I know it's uncomfortable. I know it gets hot through here, but it's for your good. I'm almost there, Sheridan. But look at somebody for the third time and just say, I'm so glad that the fire got turned up, because I would not have known that I got some devils that need to be pushed out of my life. I did not know it till I got uncomfortable. There's revelation in being uncomfortable. I got to preach that one day. I said there's revelation in being uncomfortable. I got to preach that one day. I said there's revelation in being uncomfortable. America is uncomfortable, but I sit here and say it's the best thing for her. There's no more closet, nothing. Put it all. We got to know who's who in this space we in. It's the same thing spiritually. You had a form of godliness, but it wasn't until you were uncomfortable. I got to move on to the next point, because there's a second way that he builds your faith. The second way that he builds your faith, write this down, is that God tests our faith through demands. Now, not just through difficulties, but through demands. He asks us to do things that are seemingly impossible. He asks us to do things that are absolutely difficult. You'll notice in the New Testament there are about 1,050 commands for believers to obey. Of all these commands, some of them seem unreasonable. Now, you're not going to say that because you're a good church person. I'll say it for you. That when you read many of the commands in the New Testament, many of them, with our westernized thinking, they seem unreasonable. But understand, brothers and sisters, that the reason why many of us call them unreasonable is because they're inconvenient. Lord, some of them seem even downright impossible. The question is, what do you do when you have an impossible command that feels like a demand? Understand that these are to test your faith. When you have a command and it seems like I can't do that, the issue is at that particular moment is, who am I going to believe? What is it that I'm going to trust? Am I going to believe what God says, or am I going to believe what I think is right to do? Because all of the promises, all of the commands are there to test us. Some of them, yes, seem simple at first, but when you look at them, it becomes demanding. When you talk about forgiveness, it's easy to forgive someone you like. Say it again. It's easy to forgive someone you like, but it's altogether different when you got to take that same demand and forgive the person you don't like. It's easy to love people you get along with, but it's altogether different when you've been commanded to love people that you cannot stand, and then it becomes unreasonable to even pray for people who have been P-R-E-Y-ing on you. How do I pray for somebody that I know is trying to take me out? How do I pray for somebody that don't even have sense enough to speak to me when they see me? It's unreasonable. But the question is not about them. It's about, do you trust God enough to forgive someone and not know if they're going to get their just desserts or not? I'm going to say what you want to say. I have a problem with forgiving because I need to see them get what they did to me. I need them. Y'all ain't saying nothing to me. The reason why it's hard for me to forgive that joker is because she put me through all that mess, and now they've got the unmitigated gall and audacity to be living their best life, and here I am dealing with the fallout of what you did to me. I ain't forgiving nothing But what you don't understand is that forgiveness is for you. It's not about them. It's about the joy, the peace that you can have in your life. So he says on the front end, I want you to forgive while it may be unreasonable, and then put your trust in me that I know exactly what I'm doing. Just look at that person beside you and just tell them, I forgive you. I forgive you. Lord, they don't even know what you're talking about. Lord, I forgive you. I forgive you. I trust that God knows exactly what he's doing. Understand that when he uses these demands, it is a way for us to obey him. I'm reminded of the children of Israel, even in the New Testament, or in the Old Testament, in Exodus chapter 16, verse number 4, where the instructions come from God that the people are to go out each day and gather enough manna for that day. He said, I want you to gather enough manna for that day. In that way, I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. Can I tell you why many of us would have failed that test? Because we would have said, wait a minute, the best way to gather the manna is not just for the day, but we got to do it for next week. And you don't understand that I've been trained in this area. You don't understand, yes, God said to do it that way, but let me help God along. And we would have added to the instruction. We would have tried to have some philosophical argument with God when he says, I know what I'm doing. I want you to gather for the day, and the whole purpose is to see if you will follow instructions and see me take care of you as your sustainer. And so many times we don't like the command, so we try to have a rational and logical conversation that we are not qualified for. There are some things that God calls me to do that I don't want to do, I don't like to do, and it doesn't make sense to me. But I do it because I need to show, and I need to put some things in me to death that keeps trying to raise up against God. And I don't know if there's anybody in the room right now that will say, Lord, that's part of my issue, that I don't like nobody telling me what to do. I got an issue with authority. And even when you tell me to do something, there's something in me that wants to rebel. I came to let somebody know that's the first devil that needs to be put down in your life. That God will call you to do things that oftentimes don't make sense, but it's for your good. Slap that neighbor. No, don't slap him. Just put your hand on your own chest and just say, he's building me through these demands. He's building me through these demands. He's building me through this situation. But not only does he test our faith through demands, here's the big one. He tests our faith through dollars. I tried to preach the best two I can, the first two I could, the best way I could. I knew the point 3, I was going to lose most of my amens, because you was good with the difficulties, you all right with the demands, but let's just go ahead and go right to your driveway, that God is testing you through your dollars. Oh Lord have mercy. I said he's testing you through your dollars. Just in case you tried to ignore me and hum through that last point, I must say it again, that God is testing you through your dollars. Money is one of the greatest tests of faith in your life. Let me take my time through here. Money is one of the greatest tests of faith in your life. Few people understand how God uses our material possessions as a test of character and a test of faith. For many people, finances are the greatest stronghold in your life. They have no idea that God is actually testing them when they get into debt. Lord have mercy. They don't understand that God is testing you when you have a choice to do something, but you don't do it because you understand that God has called you to invest in something different. As a matter of fact, I would say this, brothers and sisters, that many people today don't understand that when it comes to your dollars, God sees that as more of an indication of your faith than your shout on Sunday morning. God understand makes us managers. He makes us managers. He's giving a truth and showing us that it's taught all through scriptures that there is a definite, direct relationship between how you handle your dollars and the spiritual depth in your life. There is a direct connection. As a matter of fact, a sign of spiritual immaturity is undisciplined spending and managing. Whoo, Lord, I wish y'all could see y'all's face right now. You will shout about a check in the mail and then squander it the same day. Lord have mercy. You will dance about promotion on your job and then won't tithe. You will holler about unexpected money coming into your life and then will not invest in your future and in your children's future. And then we have the gall to come to church and dance as if God is pleased. He says it's not your shout, it's not your words, it's what's in your heart. And you can find where your heart is by what you spend on. Fact is, what I do with my money really does show where I am spiritually. God determines how much he can bless my life by how faithful I am with what he puts in my hand. Folk will travel to places to get a word for their finances and get breakthrough in their wallet. But it's not in where you go and what conference you hit to. The truth is, if you want to know how to come out of poverty, hear what I'm trying to tell you. And I am not just speaking about giving in church. This is not, don't take that thing and run with it. I'm talking about the way you manage your finances. If you want to know how to get breakthrough in your life financially, start looking at how you spend your money. I am not simply talking about offering in the church. Let's go deeper than that. I'm saying that if you want to see your spiritual life go to the next level, look at the ledger of your bank account every single month and see what your God is. Ooh, I know I'm on the right one because of how quiet it is. Understand that it is here when I'm willing and ready and able to generously give the Lord all that I am, and I'm able to be a blessing to other people, when I'm able to financially take care of what needs to be taken care of. It's in that place where I begin to excel. That's what Paul said there in 2 Corinthians chapter 8, verse 7 and 8. He says, excel in the grace of giving. As a matter of fact, so many times because we are deficient in discipline in that area, we try to excel in churchy behavior because we do not understand that I believe that God is holding us accountable for what we do. And if you talk about growing your faith, I got to say it. I'm your pastor, and I've been charged to say it. I got to say it again. That if you are losing stuff every single month, it ain't the devil. It ain't the devil. You got to look at what you're doing. To understand that if money and treasures are talked about almost more than anything else in terms of Jesus' teaching, look at it, then that means it has to be of supreme importance. Because in other words, you receive the principles of the gospel, but it's in your finances that you live out the gospel. And why is one of the number one causes of both divorce, depression, and confidence tied to money? Because you cannot serve God and mammon. Hear me, that God wants to grow you through your dollars. I am not saying, brothers and sisters, that everybody in here is going to be a millionaire.
Well, I hope that was a blessing to you. I hope you heard something that would cause you to grow in your relationship with Christ. Please remember, we love you, we thank God for you, and we're asking that you would give in this moment as we continue to do the work of ministry. God bless.